Yo guys, welcome at module number 5 from the Get Funded Formula workshop. This is all about how to secure interest in your deal. In the previous modules we have discussed how to get your ideal investor avatar. We have discussed about how your funnel actually looks like. We have discussed how to get your mindset right, how to position your own business at the price. And now things are getting truly interesting, right? This is all about securing interest in your deal. Now, don't get scared right now because we are going to do soft raises, if you would like to say. We're not going to ask for money, so you don't need to feel bad at all. But here we're going to actually validate your business in the investor playing field. Super cool, super interested. And you will find out here strategies that you can leverage, maximize the chance on success, right? Now, before we dive into this, I always like to provide a framework of thinking. So in terms of a framework of thinking, we have guys that are founders and we have girls that are founders. So I think I'm able to share this, but raising capital is a lot like dating for love. And in this case, we're dating for money, right? And dating for money and dating for love have a lot of things in common. And if you would see the dynamics of dating for love, you're not straight away going to jump with someone in bed. You're not straight away going to jump on the altar to get a ring around it. You just don't do that. There is a process. There's a process of push and pull. There is a process of teasing the other one so they start liking you. So if we would say that what you learned in the previous module, that your one-page teaser could be that text message that you are sharing to someone like, hey, are you open for a date? And you explain a little bit where, what you have in mind. Someone feels excitement about it. They don't know exactly what is the bigger picture behind it. But hey, yes, you did your best and someone is actually ready for it. Now, when it comes to securing interest in your deal, it's exactly the same, right? So the text message is currently the teaser that you're going to send out. And if we would like to bring it a step further, again, I'm giving you examples. It could be if you have a wedding, this is your RSVP. It could be that some people say, sorry, I'm not able to join your wedding. And in this case, also, it could be that some of the investors would say, hey, happy wedding, but this is not for me. Of course, in order to have an amazing wedding day and know what kind of venue you need to look after, you need to have these RSVPs, right? And the same is again with your teaser. You want to know how many investors are interested so you know how much equity you're going to give away, if it's even worthwhile to start your raise already. Now, the reason also why we start with teasers and not with pitch decks is that a teaser is a one-page overview of your business, right? And if you really spend time on that, you can optimize each section of this teaser. So if the investor is okay, if the teaser is okay, you should almost get a yes, I would like to know and learn more. So hence why I'm saying this module is all about foreplay. So if you think about foreplay before you jump with someone in bed, you need to tease them. And in this module, we're going to discuss the strategies that you can leverage, how to get these dollars in your account. So how to get yes on your teasers. And I will close this chapter by giving you ideas how to actually deliver momentum. As always, I will start off with a small little quote. Your goal is to turn interest into action by addressing objections and building trust step by step, right? So in the funnel, currently we are at the start of the funnel. We are at securing interest through teasers. And once you have that initial yes, which is a very easy yes for investors, then the doors open to actually start giving access to your deal summary, build trust with additional reviews of clients or investors, by sharing a FAQ, how your business works that answers most of the questions, by sharing that you have already 100 investors that said yes to you, by sharing a recent podcast that you were co-hosting. All of these kind of things. We want to show that you are the real deal. Now, let's move to the strategies. The first things first, right? Super excited. You're going to get interested in this deal. The first thing, what you need to do is, and hopefully you've already done that, you have 150 investors identified that match your geography, your industry, your sector, ideally some additional common interest that you have. Perhaps you have some partners in your network that you can already start leveraging to get access to them. You want to have a really great idea how this investor looks like, and you want to find 150 of them, ideally in close proximity where you're going to do the business. That is step number one. Now, you can do that. You can add them to your DD-CRM. You can find a demonstration for that here in the course area, or you're using your own CRM. Again, the DD-CRM is free for you to use. There's a free account, so you can add it there, though I would strongly recommend you to take the paid version because it will serve you for life. Then, we have two different starting points. You know already the investor, or you have never talked with these investors before. Again, think about the investor mindset. Everything comes together here right now. If the investor is receiving many different deals per day, you want to stand out, right? You have already learned, you stand out by short emails, investor lingo, investor mindset. But it's also the rule of reciprocity, right? Reciprocity means that if you give someone more in the start, they almost feel obligated to give something in return. So why not just start your investor relations by giving something to this investor? And you can go completely wild on that, but I provided here a specific idea how you could do that in the most cost-efficient way ever. The first thing what you're going to do is see through LinkedIn, otherwise through Signal, one of these platforms, to see if you have already connections that are connected to these investors. That I would strongly recommend you to create one email, one teaser, reach out to maybe a founder that is connected to that investor and say like, hey, I see that you're connected with John, right? Yeah, currently I am not. I see that John is very active when it comes to investments. The reason why I want to work with him is because we have alignment in terms of our industry, in terms of our sectors. Would you be open to introducing me to him? And that doesn't need to go for free. This is my teaser. First of all, see if you like the business, right? Two, what you can do is you can come up with incentives. Incentives could be, help me introduce, if something comes out of it, I will give you 1% of the raise or 0.5% of the raise. Another introduction could be like, hey, if something comes out of this, I will give you an Amazon gift card. Hey, I have allocated for successful introductions a fraction of our business. That could be a very little fraction. I would happy to give that to you, right? So if you don't have the network yet to get these introductions, you want to become resourceful, right, in order to get that done. Now, the second thing, what you can do, and you can also give this to your introduction partner, and if you don't have the introduction partner, you can share this to the investor. You want to create a fact sheet that contains the macro developments of your industry, right? So let's say you're in the healthcare industry. Let's say you're a teledoctor, or you're in the medical clinics in a specific country, and you know that this investor is interested in health, is interested in Asia, is interested in Singapore, Indonesia, whatsoever, then you would love to create a fact sheet about your industry. How many competitors? What are the margins? What is the compounded annual growth rate of this industry? Why will this industry still exist in 5 years from now? What kind of technological developments are there in the industry? Is there AI whatsoever? It's just like an overview of that industry, that if someone reads this, you leave a great first impression. And someone think like, oh, I didn't know this. This helps me to become a better investor. And of course, you can use ChatGPT for that. We have also in our DD Banker AI created a prompt for this, how you can create that fact sheet. I would say make sure that the fact sheet has institutional class, which means that it looks very proper. It's your first interaction with an investor, and it could be something like, hey John, this is Sven. I'm on short-term planning to open up a raise for our aka one-liner. I see that you have an interest in this industry. So perhaps I can reach out to you in the future, but I already wanted to give you a fact sheet about the industry in general, just to open up the door for us to see if we can work together. That's it. You don't ask for anything else. You don't ask a yes, whatever. And John will say, thank you for making this. And a small little tip that I would like to give to you here, specifically if you create like a personalized video, or you name the file John Industry Overview, then it feels personalized. John always feels like, did he make this for me? If you want to even go a step further, and it costs you literally, if you have 150 of them, maybe 2 hours, make it personal. This is for John, blah, 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 blah. If someone opens it, they think like, wow, that's the first impression. And you really need to do this in order to get your feet between the door. Because then, the next time when you email John, say like, hey, was this resourceful for you? I have good news, by the way. I'm going to open up my round. And that's where you actually start with the teaser. Right? So then you want to use your one-page teaser. And your goal here is to keep on sharing that teaser until you have around 100 investors that told you, yes, I think this is interesting. I would love to learn more about this if you open up your round. So you see the strategy, right? You have 150 investors. You spoil them with information around your industry, which is ideally tailored to them. You open up the door for communication. You don't ask anything. Ideally, you ask for a partnership introduction. And then you're going to distribute these teasers, and you're seeking for 100 yeses, Or if you have a mini round, what I also strongly suggest, then you go for at least a 30 to 50 first yeses, right? That's it. And then you can later on for your second mini round have another 50, and for your third mini round another 50. Once they have said yes to your teaser, and that yes to your teaser that looks something like, yes, please keep me updated, and they will, trust me. Because, again, you don't ask them to wire cash, you ask them to be open for an interesting investment. Then, in the meantime, while you're collecting this moment up till you have 50 for your mini round, or otherwise 100 for your second round, you will keep on sharing, hey John, while we're waiting to open up our round, I just wanted to share some more information around our business. These are the latest traction results. These are the latest reviews results. These are some facts. These are sales numbers, blah, 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 blah. You keep that moment open. So think about my foreplay. You keep teasing them to make them fall in love with you. Then only when you have enough yeses collected, then you will start investor conversations at the same time. Not today a few, next week a few, and the week after a few, because the problem with that is that every investor is on a different moment in the process, a moment in your timeline, and they will never be able to make decisions at the same time, which means you cannot leverage FOMO, right? So very important, start your investor conversation at the same time, and which means that you have around 30 meetings, between 20 to 30 meetings, highly engineered, 20 minutes tops, to start the conversation, tell more about your business, have a video ready, all of that kind of stuff, and you want to keep on momentum. And after that, of course, you want to get that soft commitment in, signed an LOI, an existing interest, and you want to keep on building that momentum through investor, positive feedback, all of that kind of stuff. So here you have it. This is a golden strategy. It supported me to raise close to $100 million for myself and $145 million for clients. This always works. Let's talk about for a moment about follow-ups, right? If you don't get instantly a response for your investor, don't think that they're an asshole. Again, think about the investor mindset. They have a lot of deals. Be persistent in your follow-up, but don't become a dick or don't become a bitch. Sorry for my words here. Don't become annoying. Try to follow up. I understand that you're busy. You indicated interest before. I just want to share this. Maybe you can file it all in one folder because I will keep updating you. So the moment we are coming together, it makes a lot of sense, and they are already updated. So let's go to the next one. How can you enhance some additional trust? We already talked about this. Start simultaneously. I don't need to go deeper in that. If you already got early commitments, so let's say you're collecting these 100 yeses, it's delicious because you can say like, hey John, we have currently 30 investors already who shared their interest to learn more about our business, shared their interest to potentially invest in our business. I would definitely like to be talking with you, and this works, right? So share the soft commitments. If you even have an LOI, that's a letter of interest, share it, or positive feedback from other investors to build social proof. Use investor testimonials every time when you have an investor meeting and it went amazing. Think like, okay, this was cool. Make it a habit to ask at the end of the investor meeting, like, okay, hey, what do you think of this business? Well, and then people will say like, okay, I think you're on the right track. This is really okay. And you can use these testimonials to other investors. Or if you already have investors in your business, ask them to create an investor testimonial. And this, by the way, you can also do in Didi, where you invite your investors. Investors can write testimonials. You can share it easy with other investors. So again, another reason to jump on the Didi platform. You want to show transparency. Be upfront about risks and mitigation strategies. Again, we're not selling here the ultimate golden age mega opportunity. You are selling a investment opportunity. So what you always read online, people need to be made aware that this potentially could go south, right? And of course that it's not your intention. Hence I'm always saying sell the worst case scenario, highlight the risk of the deal, and more important, if you highlight, share how you will avoid that these things are happening. Clear deadlines, showcase consistent updates, new partnerships, increased traction. This will all serve. And you can manage this perfectly through Didi by sharing your updates. Now, if you would like to get additional interest, right, what can you do then? You can engage investors beyond just pitching. So if they are replying to your regular updates, while they are in the process before you talk with them, you could schedule follow-up calls if they have certain interest to dive deeper in topics. You can already offer exclusive access to product demos or give them early stage results. You can invite them, if they're really great, to join advisory board meetings, or, for example, to join a strategic planning session. You can leverage informal meetings, jump on a call, or if you're in the same city, schedule a quick coffee. You want to leverage, of course, the warm introductions from mutual connections. These are all handed to you to give you an idea how to entertain the investor. The key is position yourself as the prize, right? So I hope this module gives you a great overview how you can secure interest in the deal. It all comes down to be a master seducer that makes waiting a guilty pleasure. And the guilty pleasure comes by being creative, what you can share without becoming a dick. So what can you do right now? Go to your Didi page, activate fan mode. If you wonder, okay, what is fan mode? We have a fan mode in Didi and we have a fund mode in Didi. Fan mode is designed to collect interest. They only see the teaser, and once you have enough investors, you can switch to fund mode, right? And they are able to see your deal summary, etc. So activate fan mode. Make sure that your teaser is live there, and if you don't want to use Didi, you can of course use our $100 million teaser that is also available, and then you would like to share that with your list. Then you would like to add additional reviews and create your first investor update. That also happens inside of the DD portal, and if you don't use the DD portal, there's other resources how you can do that. Now, in order to get really under the skin of the investor and know exactly what they were asking, I have included here a PDF with 100 questions every investor will ask. Go over that. Ideally you would like to be able to answer all of them, because sooner or later these questions you will need to answer, or otherwise these questions you can add to your frequently asked question section to make sure that you are well prepared and you leave an amazing impression. So this was it. I will see you in the next module and talk to you soon. Cheers, bye bye.